Good evening, members. I welcome you to the 2022 Annual General Meeting of Barbershop Harmony Australia Inc. or BHA. The BHA Council members present by teams are Secretary Rob Lee, VP Marketing Development Daniel Beckett, VP Membership Paul Adams, VP Events Richard Waddock, Acting VP Music Kelly Shepherd, and Acting VP Youth Development Joe Oosterhoff. The BHA regional chairpersons present are Richard Gardam from the Tasmanian region, Alex Anderson from Victorian region, Kai McIntosh from Western region. Central region does not currently have an appointed chairperson. And we have apologies from Stuart Adey, our regional chair of the Eastern region, and David Reid, the chair of the Sunshine region. Mr. Secretary, there are currently 55 registered BHA members present via video teleconference. Do we now have a quorum?
Yes, Mr. President. I also hold valid proxy votes from 136 members, a total of 191, and accordingly we have a quorum, being more than 10% of the current 890 members eligible to vote.
Thank you. I now declare the 2022 BHA Annual General Meeting open. Motion 1 is the approval of the 2021 AGM minutes. The first item of business is the reception and approval of the minutes of the 2021 AGM as amended to correct the entry regarding minutes of the previous AGM, which was circulated to all members electronically on December the 10th, 2022 via email. Is there any discussion on this motion? No discussion. I now move that the minutes of the 2021 AGM be approved. Do I have a mover? Thank you. And do I have a seconder? All right, all those in favour indicate aye. And against? I rule that the ayes have it. Motion number 2 is the President's report. I shall now present the President's report. For the information of members not present in person or online at this meeting, this report will be published for the information of all on the BHA website. 2022 has, by all reasonable measures, been a very successful year for BHA. Following on from the overwhelmingly supported vote by members at last year's AGM to open the membership of BHA to all, we have seen an influx of new members from all over the country. This has been particularly encouraging, given that many similar arts organisations around Australia and the world did not successfully make it through the COVID-19 pandemic, with many losing members and many more being forced to cease altogether. However, thanks largely to the monumental and significant change made in 2021 to the way that our association operates, Barbershop Harmony Australia will, no doubt, operate well into the future and will prosper. The experience of singing together in harmony is meaningful to all people, and your National Council and I are thrilled to see so many different people from everywhere actively participating in BHA. Thanks to the decision made by our membership in 2021, everyone who loves to harmonise has a home in BHA, and we are much more equipped to fulfil our strategic vision of enriching Australia through harmony. A good demonstration of the health of our association was demonstrated by the vibrant and exciting National Festival held recently in Hobart. The vibe in each and every venue was electric, and it truly felt like a big family reunion after spending so long apart. A significant number of delegates were attending for their very first time as new members, and so it was heartening to see that not only do people want to join BHA in new clubs, choruses and quartets, but they are also very eager to support these national events. This year in Hobart, we saw an outstanding result in contest scores too, with many more groups than ever scoring well into the higher 70s. But it was more than just a contest. The events, the singing, the socialising that went on proved that we are a healthy, progressive and contemporary arts organisation. The professional webcasting, photography and the quality of the venues were all something for the organising team to be very proud of, and we look forward to continuing to refine the event to make it absolutely unmissable in the future. This year, as well as celebrating our existing and new members, we also paused to celebrate those members who have come before us and who have helped to make BHA such a great success story. The introduction of our BHA Hall of Fame is designed as an opportunity to recognise those people who have made a significant contribution to the well-being of our association over the past 35 years. Those extraordinary people gave an extraordinary gift to all of us, their time, their passion and their energy, leaving us with a vibrant and supported environment to enjoy what we do best, sing. But there are so many more people who work to make BHA a success each year. And at this stage, I'll take a moment to personally thank each of our national councillors for striving to provide BHA with the best leadership resources that we can get. I thank our administrative staff who volunteer so much of their time to keep us all organised, our regional chairs who help keep things moving at a local level, our club leadership teams who are at the front line in recruiting new members and providing the best possible environments to retain those members, and of course, to all of our members. Without you, none of the aforementioned would have anything to do. So moving forward, your National Council is about to begin refreshing our strategic plan for the next 5 years. Currently, Barbershop Harmony Australia has linked its strategic direction with 3 simplistic directives: engage, educate, and enjoy. As an organisation, we strive to engage our communities, aspiring people to become leaders in the music scene, educating members and non-members alike, and sharing our enjoyment of our wonderful art form. And we are always looking for ways to make what we do more contemporary, more relevant, and more appealing to our members and to our wider community. It's important to state here that although Barbershop Harmony Australia's mission remains the same, to embrace harmony and the perpetuation and promotion of singing in the barbershop style, we are sure that there are ways for us to continue to develop strategic projects and policies designed to maximise our reach into and our positive impact on our communities. As evidenced by the Treasurer's report and accompanying financial statements later on, you'll see that we're in a good position to continue on the path of providing education and training for our members and to be able to provide funding to help clubs and choruses finally recover from the darker days of 2020 and 2021. And we will increase those activities. I assure you that we recognise that the funds we currently have are there to be spent on the membership. So, following the initial development of our new strategic plan, we will be consulting with the membership on areas where you believe this funding can most effectively be directed for the maximum benefit. In closing, I'll add one final comment. The past few years have seen a significant change around the world. People have reprioritised how they work, what they do for fun, what they hold dear. I think we can all speak to the concept of our barbershop family and how much we missed everybody while we were in lockdowns or quarantines. And it is relieving to know that the worst of these times appears to be behind us. Me and your National Council are here to help. We're all just people like you who started our barbershop careers because we loved the sound it made, not because we wanted to become administrators. But we will continue to help guide our family. We will continue to listen to our family. We will continue to strive for a culture of excellence, of pride in our brand, of sharing, of leadership, of education, of participation, and of community building. Together, we will strive to ensure that our family is truly in the business of enriching Australia through harmony. Thank you. So are there any questions?
Mr. President, there's some comments and questions on the chat.
Thank you. To answer Angus's question, yes, it is sufficient to raise the hand emoji and we will watch those occur. That's why I'm giving it slightly longer to pass the motions. Rick, same question, thank you. Thank you for answering, Joe. Thank you. So if you have questions, please type them into the meeting chat. Thank you. All right, we will continue. I now move that the President's report be received. Do I have a mover? And a seconder?
And before we go on, there's a comment, how will you deal with members around expenditure and when will this occur?
This will occur next year. once we have developed our strategic priorities and strategic plan. That will be then forwarded for consultation. Does that answer your question, Rick? While Rick's responding, Ian, you have your hand up. When next year? It will be in the first few months of next year. National Council is having a meeting in late January, and we hope to have things finalised then. So consultation will occur probably in March once we finalise all of those ideas. Further hands up? Sorry. Kai, you have your hand up. Western Region Chair, welcome. Sorry, that was moving seconding. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Can you please send Neil the things that he's looking for? Thank you. We'll continue. Okay, so all those in favour of accepting the President's report, please indicate aye by raising a hand. Thank you very much. And all those against, so lower your hands. And all those against, please raise your hand. I rule that the ayes have it. Motion number 3 is the Secretary's report.
Just before we move on, I'm not in a position to be able to send Neil those files. So maybe Daniel, could you find that email and redirect it to Neil?
Thank you, Daniel.
Sure.
Next up is the Secretary's report. For the information of all members, this report will be published on the BHA website following this meeting.
Yeah,
Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. President. This report covers the membership year from the 1st of January 2021. Pleasingly, BHA has come through the difficulties due to the COVID-19 pandemic in very good shape. The changes to our membership structure over the past year are an increase of 194 members, an increase of 8 registered quartets up from 51 in 2020, and an increase of 17 club at large members. We currently have 890 registered members, including 826 full members, 6 life or honorary members, and 58 youth members. We currently have 34 registered clubs, an increase of 5 over 2021. This includes mixed clubs. It also includes the club at large that has 58 financial members. These clubs support a total of 44 choruses, an increase of 4 over 2021. During the year, we have had 74 registered quartets, including 9 women's quartets, 17 mixed quartets, and 48 men's quartets. Of these, 19 are senior quartets and 1 youth quartet. This is a remarkable result given the difficulties of lockdowns, masks, and general wariness of singing caused by the need for social distancing. I commend the efforts of my fellow councillors to provide excellent communications to members during the year, of Ian Mulholland and his group of judges for supporting our regional competitions and the National Festival, Richard Waddick and the Hobart crew for a truly excellent festival, and Dan Milgate for his leadership during these times. BHA has several insurance policies designed to protect members, club officers, performers and volunteers. We carry the following insurances: group accident cover, volunteer workers accident cover, management liability insurance, public liability. There have been no insurance claims made on these policies over the year. BHA has a One Music licence to cover all clubs. The licence covers the performance of music from the APRA AMCOS repertoire at rehearsal and non-ticketed performances only. We also have licences for distributing certain learning tracks, holding webinars and other YouTube streaming licences. Finally, it has been my privilege to serve on the National Council over the last 2 years. It has been my privilege to assist in the expanding of the organisation to accept people of all genders and the modifying of our constitution to achieve this. It has been both a challenging and rewarding time, and I want to thank everyone for your support during my tenure. Thank you to my fellow councillors and especially Dan Milgate for their guidance in this important role. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Are there any questions on the Secretary's report? I now move that the Secretary's report be received. Do I have a mover? And a seconder? All those in favour, please indicate by saying aye, raising your hand. I rule that the ayes have it. Thank you very much, everybody. You can put your hands down again. I think this is going swimmingly. Motion 4 is our Treasurer's report. Next is the Treasurer's report for the year ending 30 September 2022. This report was published in an email to all members on November 27, 2022. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my pleasure to present the Treasurer's report, which consists of the Association's financial statements, the audit report, and necessary disclosures as required by the Incorporated Associations Act, WA. I'm pleased to announce that the Association returned a surplus of $36,152 in the 2022 financial year. As a reminder to our members, our financial year is different to our membership year. It runs from 1 October to 30 September, this being the period of 1 October 2021 to September 30, 2022. The most noticeable comparative difference to the 2021 financial statements is the increase in membership income, which went from $55,000 to just shy of $70,000, which is pretty close to a 20% increase, just under 20% increase. It also warms my heart to tell the membership that we very kindly received a donation from a previous club, Local Evolution Incorporated, of about $8,000, which is to be used towards supporting the encouragement and growth of men's singing and singing in general, as well as a donation to an association that's supported by BHA and the former members of Local Evolution. All our other costs are in line with previous years. And our current bank balance at 30 September was $147,000 and $755. So that again, $148,000, which is up about $40,000 on last year. Now, obviously, as an association and a not-for-profit, it's not our purpose to retain profit, but our costs have been significantly lower because of the restrictions to travel and not having in-person and competitions. We maintained our insurances throughout this period, and we're not planning on sitting on this money, as Daniel Milgate, your president, outlined in his report. We will be consulting with the membership on how best to use these funds to serve you. I'm also pleased to announce that all members of the BHA Council have their director identification number, which is a requirement since we are an Australian registered body. Mr. President, that is the Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. I'm going to put those two motions together because the financial statement will form part of your report. So we're now putting forward, we have a question from Angus. How does our membership income compare to pre-COVID numbers? Happy for you to take the question on notice if required.
Yeah, it's definitely higher. Last year was a dip because a lot of members didn't renew their membership, especially our competing members. It is higher than previous years. I don't have the percentage higher, but knowing that our membership is nearly at record levels, I would definitely say it's higher.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Angus? Thank you. We have another question here. Will, where is this coming in from? Sorry, just lost that. Will costs be lower in a Pan-Pacific year when we're not hosting a festival?
That's a great question. We run the association costs separate to the convention costs. So our convention is, I guess, run by an organisation called the Australian Barbershop Convention Management Association. That was set up to basically negate the requirement for us to be registered for GST. But if we keep going the way we're going, we're going to have to register for GST, which means membership fees will go up by 10%, which is unfortunate, but also exciting that our membership fees are increasing and our members are growing. So to answer your question, no, because that's run through a separate organisation.
Thank you, Trevor. There's a couple of questions here in relation to the financial report.
I'll take that off. I'll take Alex's question offline.
We'll take Alex's questions offline. Thank you. And we'll answer you after this meeting, Alex. Is that okay?
Actually, I'll answer his final question on point 2. A reporting entity is an entity that's required under the Corporations Act to report. Think of this as your public companies would be the most common one, and your large proprietary companies. We are neither of those, so we're not a reporting entity.
Okay, does that satisfy your question, Alex? Okay, I now move no. Okay. Well, we might take that one on notice and we'll talk to you shortly, Alex. So I now move that the Treasurer's report and financial statement for the year ending 30 September be received. Do I have a mover and a seconder? All those in favour, please indicate by raising your hands. I rule that the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Motion 6 is the election of office bearers for 2023-24. Mr. Secretary, before I move the motion, could you please inform the meeting of the nominations? And thanks, people. You can put your hands down now too. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President. The positions to be voted on, which become vacant by rotation according to the Constitution, are the Secretary, Vice President Membership, Vice President Music, and Vice President Youth. Full financial members and life members were invited to nominate for these positions. The deadline for receipt of nominations with the returning office closed at midnight on Friday, the 28th of October 2022. Mr. President, I can inform the meeting that at the close of nominations, the following valid nominations had been received. Secretary, Mr. Robert Turnbull. Vice President Membership, Mr. Paul Adams. Vice President Music, Mr. Kelly Shepherd, and Vice President Youth, Ms. Jo Oosterhoff.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Look, there being only one nomination for each position of Secretary, VP Membership, VP Music and VP Youth, I hereby declare each nominee elected unopposed to their respective positions for a term commencing on 1 January 2023 and expiring on 31 December 2024. A round of applause. Congratulations to our new council members. Now we have a hand up. We have a hand down. Good. This was just a round of applause. Thank you. So this brings the business of the 2022 BHA Annual General Meeting to an end. I now declare the 2022 BHA Annual General Meeting closed. Is there any general discussion from the floor? We'll give people a few seconds to type stuff. Thank you, John. Any ideas for BHA education in the works? Is a question asked by Dan Bennett. Yes, Dan, that will be very, very much a focus of the strategic plan. Kelly Shepherd, our VP Music, has some fantastic ideas, and we're all working together as a leadership team to come up with some new exciting initiatives. You'll hear more about that in late February or March. Neil, yes, another Australian polecat book is on the way. Yes, it is cool. Richard Breve from Australia, I'm guessing. Why the need to consult with members RE spending initiatives rather than decide as an elected council on members' behalf? It's a very good question, Richard. We want to ensure maximum benefit for all members, and so as a National Council, we have some great ideas, but we're also very open to hearing of ideas from our members about where things can be directed. Mr. Brugger, do you want to talk to that at all?
The only thing I'd like to add to that is with the influx of new membership. So I think it's good to consult because we do have a lot of new members that might have some fantastic ideas. Yeah, new set of eyes over things is always good. Angus asks, I recall filling out a survey sent around by Joe in respect to youth involvement. I was wondering if there's an update on that. Perhaps Joe can speak to it. Joe will probably tell you that that's going to be a large part of our strategic development in January. But Joe, over to you.
Well, I'm still hoping to have a few more people signing up to that survey, and thank you very much for filling it out, Angus. It was actually quite rewarding being in Hobart and speaking to a number of people who may not have filled out the survey but had lots of ideas. So I am very welcoming of any people in the BHA community who have interest in youth development to please get in contact with me. And we are working towards starting up ideas of any kind in all of the states. For example, I have some quartet stuff happening in Victoria soon, and Adelaide is looking at a workshop. So we are starting to build up a bit of a network, and that's really my focus, is building a network so that people have support to develop programs in their areas.
Thank you, Joe, and congratulations on your appointment. And like all programs, you know, these things will be very much a work in progress and a moving target. You know, we react to what we see. So if people in different places volunteer or identify a need in different places for things like youth or education, then we'll jump to it. We try to be as responsive as possible. Paul, apologies for tardiness. Welcome. Chris and Liz, hello. Advise when new clubs are to be accepted. We're waiting on BHA advice for the Sunshine Coast Mixed Chorus. We're looking very forward to the Sunshine Coast Mixed Chorus joining us in January. As the Treasurer has just mentioned, our financial year goes from January to December. We're not going to rip you off by making you register in December and then again in January. So we'll get you a full financial year. You should hear back very shortly. Mason, is there any talk around the redefinition of the mixed category, changing of the competition categories at the next national convention to allow for groups that don't meet the 25% minimum for the mixed category? This year has been a transitional year. We have introduced fully open membership. We are sure that the trial period that we announced will probably take us a few years to refine. But yes, we hear that there is definitely, you know, conversation around just having completely open categories of every description. So yes, there is talk, and yes, there will be movement. A question here about how did New Zealand get so much youth involvement? I can answer that off the top of my head. I've just recently been across New Zealand where there was a convention with a higher percentage of youth involved. In New Zealand, Barbershop is part of the schools program. It's a different culture over there. People grow up singing. You know, school kids sing, families sing together. It's a very different place to Australia, where we play football and cricket instead. But they basically had a couple of very driven teachers who put together a program which we are working, Joe will work with our New Zealand counterparts, but recognising that it is a very different culture. That's a little bit of an apples and oranges conversation. We're trying to emulate some of what they do, though. Thank you, Angus. Hayley, would love to hear plans for further refinements to the new categories as information becomes available. And trust me, we will be consulting on that and talking to members very deeply about that, because it will make a difference to how we operate. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Meant to add that it all started in New Zealand Youth with Les Nation. Yes, that's correct. That's right. The Young Singers in Harmony contest is huge in New Zealand. Right. We're meeting with BHA in New Zealand in January, and we plan to talk about all these kind of strategic linkages that we can take advantage of. All right, looks like our questions have come to a rest. So I thank all of you very, very much for attending. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your participation. Thanks for your interest in your society. And I wish all of you and your loved ones a joyous and happy Christmas and a peaceful and prosperous new year. I hope 2023 is as exciting and rewarding as 2022 turned out to be. These recordings will be published as soon as possible, and the reports will be up on the BHA website very shortly. Just before we go, one question on judging school. Yes, Chris Daria, Ian will send you an email shortly with details on that. Great. So happy Christmas, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us.